Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bakertron, and welcome to yet another game of Homeworld. Today we will have a 1v1 on the map Radical Symmetry, which is one we haven't seen for at least a few games, and it's quite nice. It's fairly small, and well, not a huge amount else I can say about it. It's got resource packets off to the sides, and a fairly dense resource packet in the middle of the map, so we should see. Well, we can see fighting anywhere within this circle, really, which is quite nice. It's a little two-dimensional, but there is some resources above and below the sort of starting plane, as it were. So, who knows? We may see some interesting three-dimensional fighting. Otherwise, it looks like it's a fairly standard map, and hopefully we should get a fairly interesting game, or incredibly interesting, fun, and exciting game, preferably. So today's 1v1 will be between two players. I think I can get these names right. I believe. Okay, I'm just going to double check. Yes, this is Collosal Tobacco, who is I'm certain we've seen him before a fair few times, and so he's a veteran player, clearly knows what he's doing. And his opponent today, I can't believe I've actually forgotten it already. This is Stoned from the clan SLS. So these are two definitely veteran players, and hopefully we should see some quite good gameplay. Now, I'd also just like to point out before I get into this, yesterday at one of the PAX conventions there was a Gearbox panel where they talked about the new Homeworld Remastered and some of their plans for that, so I'm going to go into that in more detail in my next video, because I mean, while they had a little bit of information, I'm actually slightly disappointed, but I will go into further details on that at some point very, very soon. But at least we know one thing: Homeworld Remastered will be coming out before the end of the year, so within the next 9 months in theory, which is going to be good. I just have to make sure I can get a new computer in order to be able to run it. Anyway, to get back into our game, it's all fairly standard as we usually see. Light corvettes, 25 scouts. Let's see if we can do a quick harvester count. We have 4 resource collectors, 4 colossal tobacco, which is, it seems to be the normal number, and 3 here for stone. Well, 1, 2, 3rd, and a 4th just docking there. So it's all fairly even. I'm guessing stone is going to have pretty much the same amount of scouts out and all that as well. That kind of looks like 25 scouts to me. So, what more can you say? Probe's going off at the moment. Stone does have a probe here, so we can see what's going on in this area, which is easily the most important part of the map. So whoever loses this is going to struggle. And as I said, there are resources at the sides, but not enough as in the centre here, which is why both players are slowly moving their motherships towards the middle of the map, and why hopefully we should get a fight kicking off fairly soon. And one thing to note is just, I really do like the positioning that Collosal Tobacco has done. He's got his units into some very small groups, and sometimes you see players just keep all their units in a parade ground formation right outside their mothership, and it just means that they struggle to respond to a crisis quickly, because it takes a few seconds for them to put their units into the sort of correct formation and into the smaller, more manoeuvrable groups. Anyway, it looks like hopefully all these things are about to kick off. There's one of, that's surprisingly loud actually. I'm just going to turn that down a tiny bit, as one of Collosal Tobacco's harvesters is under attack. But actually Stoned just withdraws slightly. So hopefully then something will occur, because I've completely run out of things to say. Resource controller out, support frigate out. I'm guessing we're just going to have the exact same over here. Actually, oh yes, there's the resource controller. No support frigate. So, is that going to play a large role? Possibly, depending. It's going to come down to if Stoned can do something useful with this support frigate. So he can either stick it with his corvettes or repair a harvester if it comes under attack. It can't really help out these scouts because they're going to be too fast and dying too quickly. And we can just see probes once again scouting each other. It is possible to destroy ships with the probes, especially if they're clumped up in really small formations like this. Now we get a support frigate out, and that's called probe bombing, I think, but it's quite difficult to do, and if the enemy player spots it, he can easily move out the way. So if we just do a quick count on the light corvettes, we have 9, 10 for Stoned, and over here for Colossal Tobacco 8, so he's slightly behind, and his support frigate was also slightly behind, so I think he's just losing by a handful of ships. But really it's going to come down to who can control best, who can take out their enemies' harvesters quickly, and who can get the lucky hits and the kamikaze attacks, really. But at the moment both players just sort of eyeing each other up. Eventually one of these harvesters, in fact there now, is going to come under attack, and that means Colossal Tobacco is going to have to respond, or else just give up the center resource patch, and it's so valuable, he's never going to do that. So he's probably just trying to figure out the best time, the best angle with which to attack in. His opponent now has 2 support frigates out, so I'm wondering if Colossal Tobacco should have moved in a few seconds earlier. However, Stone does have all his ships in a big, huge sphere formation, and that does give him a slight disadvantage if we keep an eye out on here. We could already see some scouts dying, another one there, another one there, and another one there. None of them belong to Colossal Tobacco. Okay, first scout for Colossal Tobacco dies over here, but at the moment it is very much in his favour. If we just keep an eye out for any other explosions that are occurring. There's another one, but that was Colossal Tobacco's, and now you can see the kamikaze going off. It's impossible to tell who's coming out ahead in that. Colossal Tobacco has already sacrificed a lot of scouts, but if we switch to this, actually looks like Tobacco is winning. Definitely, his opponent Stoned is down to about 5 scouts while he's got 15, which is good for him. The question is going to be now, because he has slightly fewer light corvettes out. Now this is the time when they can kill some of the opponent's light corvettes, but he might lose a harvester in the process, or he can aim for one of his opponent's harvesters. But at the moment it looks very much like this one here is going to go down. Some more kamikaze going in on these light corvettes. They didn't kill enough though. They killed maybe a third of them, maybe 3 or 4 corvettes, and these corvettes are still desperately trying to get this harvester down. A couple more hits and there they go. So there's 1 harvester down, 4 Stoned. But Colossal Tobacco definitely has won the Strikecraft War. He has 13 light corvettes left. Actually, you know, I tell a lie, there's a lot of corvettes coming in here, including heavy corvettes. So it could still go either way. These 3 corvettes are going to die pretty quickly, and Stone is doing the correct thing and pulling his 4 frigates out of there before they can get attacked, and they'll probably link up down here. And we can in fact see Colossal Tobacco, yes it is Colossal Tobacco, switching into frigates. So frigates versus heavy corvettes. It can go either way. There's a lot of corvettes out at the moment, and that is a scary amount of firepower. They've also got a lot of support frigates keeping them alive. I had to say that when one of them died, didn't I? However, Colossal Tobacco also has a fair few support frigates and lots of corvettes, but he only has 1 assault frigate out at the moment, so I say it's about even. Although with these coming in here, I'm going to stick with my it could go either way at the moment. However, Collosal Tobacco has to keep these harvesters alive for as long as he can. Two support frigates seem to be doing their job, but once these corvettes here come in and start adding their firepower, then they might struggle. However, this is buying time for all these light corvettes and this assault frigate to do some damage, which is why there's only 4 corvettes here. Reinforcements finally arrive, and yet another support frigate. No extra tech. That is going to be a defence field frigate, and that's exactly what Collosal Tobacco needs at the moment. There is nothing here that can shoot past it at all. And what's more, because Stoned went into heavy corvettes and salvage corvettes, which could be interesting, it's going to take him quite a while to switch over his research path to get those iron cannon frigates. So at the moment, I think his best bet is to do some snazzy salvage corvette tactics and steal the defence field frigate. That would certainly swing things in his favour. It's going to be difficult though, because there's only 2 salvage corvettes and they could get focused down. So these 3 support frigates healing them up though, and this one, we've seen that before, where the salvage corvettes just have a huge amount of support frigates behind them, and that's allowed them to capture ships. But can they do it again? Or is Stone going to be able to do it? One thing to note, there's only 2 resource collectors in this area, so it's quite possible another one got picked out while I was talking about other things. And yeah, those salvage corvettes are dead. So let's just do a quick scan if we can find the missing harvester. No, we can't. So in that case, this is it. These 2 harvesters, resource collectors, all of it that Collosal Tobacco has. One of them is half damaged already, and this one, I don't think he's going to survive that long. He's Stoned is losing support frigates, and this is now turning into quite a scary group of assault frigates now. And to make matters worse, there's now this sphere of protection and invulnerability around these craft here. But these 2 harvesters are outside of it. So this harvester, I think, is just about going to make it in. Incredibly close. Oh no, it goes down. Collosal Tobacco is down to a single harvester now. And if, despite the defence field frigates, 2 of them now, and the assault frigate advantage, if this harvester goes down, I think Stoned has a very, very good chance of winning this. He'll just have to buy time with his corvettes to get iron cannon frigates out, and then that's it. He's gone. He's gone. He's good for. He's done. He can win. But at the moment, Collosal Tobacco has just said, I don't need to harvest. I'm okay with not harvesting. I'm just going to keep my 1 harvester alive. And that's exactly what he's doing. His opponent now has these 2 harvesters up here, 2 more salvage corvettes coming in. I believe he's got harvesters elsewhere as well. I want to see what happens to this harvester here. So, there's a 3rd harvester there, and these 2 salvage corvettes trying to make it in again, but once again they're not getting healed. Assault frigate's out now as well for Stoned. It's not going to help him, because the defence field frigates block their fire as well. I can't remember if we figured out if they block plasma bombs. But they block most of the fire from the assault frigates, but it does mean that Stoned has now switched his technology into frigate research, so we should be seeing iron cannon frigates out fairly soon. And we also just saw yet another support frigate go down for Stoned, and he's got these corvettes. Now technically, the defence field frigate doesn't block 100% of incoming fire, it blocks like 99%. I've seen that in a video, and that definitely is what happens. However, with just 1% of the fire coming through, these support frigates can keep this alive indefinitely. Stoned really should do with figuring out something out for these to kill. I mean, there's a frigate here he could go after. He could even start going for the mothership or something, anything, because at the moment there's a lot of resources in these corvettes. Remember, these are heavy and light corvettes, and at the moment they're achieving nothing except they're dying. And They might be buying time, I suppose, but they could be buying time some other far more useful way. So yes, I mean, look how quickly they are now dying to the assault frigate fire. One of the reasons is because they're not moving at their full speed. They're not evading the incoming fire, and so I don't expect this group to last very long. Yes, heavy corvettes are tough, but I mean, they're getting a few hits. They've just taken down one light corvette, but he doesn't need to kill these light corvettes. He needs to start doing something up here against either of these frigates, well, and the defence field frigates or the harvester. And at the moment, all he's doing is throwing away these corvettes. He's even got his research ship coming in. He might be trying to do some kamikaze tactics. It's actually quite hard to pull off, but it is doable, so we'll just have to keep an eye out on there. I believe there's still plenty of harvesters out. There's one harvester there, two harvesters, 3, 4 harvesters out, 4 stoned, and for the past 5 minutes Collosal Tobacco hasn't had an income. He's just got his one remaining harvester still alive down here. But there's nothing left for Stoned. Stoned has just lost all his corvettes. He has a handful of ships still out. And there's these 2 assault frigates which kind of went off to try to kill this. But now they're finding themselves sort of caught between, well, a rock and a research ship. In fact, I think the research ship is trying to follow these assault frigates to ram them, which is not going to work out too well for anybody involved. Okay, let's see if we can see plasma bombs being deflected. No, we can't. It's actually, these assault frigates are going to make a run for this. I don't know how worthwhile it is. It kind of seems you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You can't fight this because of the defence field frigates, and as we can see, they're already taking a lot of damage to opposing fire, and they're not going to be able to kill this harvester off either. So that's kind of, I can see what Stoned wants to do and what he's trying to do, and it's so frustrating that he can't. Just these 2 defence field frigates have been so perfectly timed. Stoned has 4 harvesters working for him now. They're not working perfectly well. They're not, you know, they're all scattered over the map. There's one controller out for the entire lot of them, but he has this income, and he can't do anything with it until he gets iron cannon frigates out, or possibly a lot of mine lane corvettes. I don't think mines are affected by these, but yeah, so he appears to have switched his research into frigates. I'm wondering if it would have been better if he'd gone into mine lane corvettes. That would have been quicker and cheaper, and if he'd done that 5 minutes ago, would he now have a fairly scary group of mines? But it looks like any chance he has for that is going to go down soon with the destruction of his research ability. He's not out to fight yet. You see a support frigate, and finally I believe that is an iron cannon frigate. He's going to need more than one, but he's got somewhere, and he could still pull this back. I would have liked it if he'd moved his mothership, say, closer to his harvesting over here, and that would have bought him a few more seconds time away from this force here, but it doesn't seem to be happening. So pretty soon we are going to get the final stand of Stoned. He is harvesting now, but remember, it's still 4 harvesters to 1, so Stoned has his chance, but it's going to be slipping through his fingers fairly soon. So the question is, how many iron cannon frigates does he need to destroy 5 assault frigates? He could do with the iron cannon frigate shooting. That would certainly appear to me, I'm not an expert, but it would appear to me to be the first step in winning any fight. But actually no, he's just taking this opportunity to fly right past them. There we go, the second iron cannon frigate is starting to kick off. Honestly though, I would go for the defence field frigates, because that way at least you can bring in the mothership's guns. But it's not, he's just sent. They are making a run for the harvesters. Again, just as the last 2 assault frigates did, and just as the last 2 assault frigates died horribly attempting to do. Because we've already seen 1 support frigate go down, and can these iron cannon frigates outrun this force here? Bearing in mind it does include 8 light corvettes, and iron cannon frigates are not that good against light corvettes. I'm wondering if this isn't a fool's errand. And I don't know. I mean, okay, this harvester is slightly damaged thanks to the 2 assault frigates that died to do that damage, but 2 support frigates have already gone down, and the angle of attack doesn't seem to be that does not seem to me to be that good for these iron cannon frigates. I mean, it could be worse. The harvester could be moving directly away from them, but it could be a lot better. It could be moving towards them. And we just see this group force splitting into 2 actually. There is no real reason for this field frigate to be with these iron cannon frigates, or to be with these assault frigates, because it's useless. But I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. This iron cannon frigate, it's got to be on its last legs, and neither of them have fired a shot against this. They might get it in now. There we go, 1 solid hit, 2 solid hits. And yes, the iron cannon frigates do quite a bit of damage, but it's clearly not going to be enough. In fact, thanks to this angle, this iron cannon frigate isn't firing. It's struggling to sort of turn and keep that in its sights, and I think just when it did, the resource controller sort of got in the way. So is it even going to get a second shot off? There's a 3rd iron cannon frigate now as well, moving down. Now you have to wonder, would 3 iron cannon frigates have been able to defeat 5 assault frigates? Okay, I don't know. Yes, there's also a lot of other things to factor in, and yes, we're looking at it in hindsight, but really I think they would have been able to do a lot more damage than is being done now. And over here, the mothership is now under attack. I don't think there's much else for Stone to do, unless he's going to come out with a destroyer in the next few minutes. And you can see once again this iron cannon frigate sort of struggling to turn quick enough. It gets a hit, and this harvester is down to about half health. But I don't think it's going to be able to destroy it in time. There we go. Not a huge amount left. His Stone does have harvesters out, but I don't know what else he can really expect to pull off. He's got to stop trying to go for the harvester. And there we go. So I'd like to congratulate Colossal Tobacco, commiserations to Stoned, and thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.